So I would say it's very skill-based oriented. So each time a formative assessment is given, or each time a summative assessment is given, teachers are able to pull that information and they're able to say which skills, which standards did our students perform lower than what they should have at that point, and they're able to pull small groups during their Tier 1 instruction in order to meet those needs. I would say that Tier 1 instructional groups, those differentiated groups, change often. So it's really skill-based, and we're looking at standards, and they're very fluid. I would say Tier 2 instruction is a little bit different. We're really looking at kids that need more consistent remediation. It's not that maybe they just didn't understand one standard, it's that consistently their foundational skills are lower. And so the teachers also provide those interventions within the classroom, but they're same group, more often consistent. I would say Tier 1 changes more often. The groupings change. I say they're much more fluid within, and it's really based on what skill or standard was I teaching, how do they perform on that, what do they need next. Tier 2, I would say, is much more foundational. Kids come in, we look at their STAR data, we look at their screening that we did on each child, and we say, okay, this child's going to need more remediation. They are lacking foundational skills. We have got to hone in on what they need specifically. Those groups are also fluid, but they don't change as often. I would say that the Tier 1 differentiated groups change. Could be daily, could be weekly, however however it pans out for whatever assessment they've given. Time in the day to meet those needs, because there are only so many hours in the day and we're asked to do so many different forms of instruction throughout the day. So we have a 90-minute reading block, and within that 90 minutes you're supposed to provide your whole group instruction and your tiered interventions right at the same time. So I would say time is one, just really figuring out how do I fit that in. I would also say planning. So I think it takes a lot of planning to look at formative assessments, to look at your data that you gather every day, and then to form those groups. What has helped is that they work together as a team. I think more heads put together, it's always better than one. And so in pulling together and really looking at it. So in first grade, we have tiered instruction happening within the classroom, but we also do a walk and read. And so during that time, everyone moves for 45 minutes. And so when they spread out to all the different teachers, some kids are still receiving Tier 1 differentiated instruction. Some are receiving Tier 2 remediation. Some are receiving Tier 3 support, and some are moving into an enrichment reading group. And those groups are fluid too. So every time we do a benchmark assessment, we go back and look at the groupings and make sure we don't need to make any changes. I really run it all through my reading coach, and she is fantastic. So we've had multiple Lexia trainings this year, but we've also had multiple meetings where she's just sat down with grade levels and they've discussed, okay, so what are your needs? Where do we need to go? What curriculum, do you need additional curriculum or additional resources? And then also, do you need professional development? So they've done a lot of backwards planning with our reading coach, and they've really looked at what is the end goal for this standard, this chapter, this unit, and then where do we go from here and how do we meet the needs of our students. All teachers. She works with all teachers. She's accessible. What's really been nice this year is that we have a reading intervention teacher and a reading coach. And this has been instrumental in meeting the needs of our children. So the reading intervention teacher, able to provide interventions all day long, different grade levels, some one-on-one, some small group. The reading coach this year and in the past years we've been able to add on time in the morning for her where she directly goes into classrooms and coaches. So she's able to go into classrooms and observe teachers, give them immediate feedback. I have her in the very beginning of the year, right from the bat in our beginning teachers' classrooms. So she's in there observing, giving feedback, backwards planning, sitting down, talking about what do these tiered 1 differentiated groups look like? How can you manage that? So she works with everyone, but I would say that I also assign her teachers that I want her to go in and work with. I would say mostly formative assessment data that they use every day. So we have exit tickets, little just formative assessments. They could be observational, or they could be on paper, or they could be through the computer, but also the screening data and then the monthly checks. And so we have progress monitoring checks that we do every month for students who have not met the benchmark. I would say classroom management training, because I do think that's another one of the areas that's pretty difficult when you're trying to run a group at your table. And then you have the rest of your probably 12 children in the room, if not more, and managing those kids. And so we have had a lot of training on how do you set that up? What does it look like? I have one kindergarten teacher, the first week of school, she has tier one differentiated instruction happening. And when I walk in that classroom, it's almost shocking to see it happening in a kindergarten class with 5-year-olds, but she has a system. And so the children at the table that she's working with know that she's working with them, and all the other children have signals and signs, and they know, hey, if her red light is up on her desk, that means you need to continue working with your friends. So I think a lot of it is classroom management and us just getting in the classrooms and giving our teachers feedback. I would say even in whole group instruction, as in what they're asking them to do. So even if you have a whole group lesson and you're actually teaching the same lesson to everyone, your level of questioning can be different, your level of assignments based on differentiation. So I've seen this actually quite often here, where you go into a classroom and the lesson is the same, but then what they're given to do to show mastery of that lesson is different. And when I walk around, I can very quickly assess who's on grade level and who needs extra support, just even based on what they're being asked to do. All students. And I think it's important. I mean, I especially don't want anyone left out. I would say that some of your children probably are provided that instruction in a small group more days of the week. But what we have insisted upon here is that all children meet with a teacher in a small group every week. So even your kids that need that enrichment and they need to be leveled up, as we would call it, they also need to meet with a teacher and be challenged. The rigor needs to be added on.